Second story is called the fire. We know this from Greta. The house is on fire. And when I pictured this big old house. My grandparents had this house, big front room, and there's a big party in there. Everyone's in the party, and I'm in the back. You go to the back, you go to the kitchen, and there's a fire, like some kitchen fire. You grab the fire extinguisher, you try to put it out, but it's not enough. You try to do something, but you can't do it yourself. But there's a fire, and the kids are upstairs sleeping. You got to do something. We need help. So you go in and you open the door. And, hey, everybody, there's a fire. We got to put the fire out. Everyone stops and turns. The music stops. Then the music starts again. And people, oh, I love that song. And they just kind of go back like everything's normal, right? Does it sound familiar? All these stories sound familiar. Like that thing, with crash, I talked to a lot of people about the car crash, and they said, oh, Stuart, aren't you getting a little extreme here? But everybody who understands climate change, who I talked about that, said, yep, that's about it. That's what we're doing. Same thing with the fire. Yep, that's about it. We yelled, there's a problem, and no one, and everyone's back like nothing, business as usual, And again, but on our side, the people who are trying to do something about this, I hear people blaming all the people in the party. I'm like, well, at some point, you go back in and you say, you walk up to where the stereo is and you flip the table, and you climb up on on something and say, hey, everybody, shut up. You, go up and get the kids. You, help grandma and grandpa out. You call the fire department. Everybody else, get out of here. The house is on fire. That's what has to happen here. And it's worth, while we're talking about fire, it's worth, when Greta says that the house is on fire, I think we have this idea, we know global warming. We think it's going to get a little hotter. It was 60, now it's going to be 70. That's kind of nicer. This is, where I live in the Pacific Northwest, where it's like climate change is coming and people are going to kind of like it. At first, right? Because, it seems kind of, it's getting a little hotter, But I think we have this idea, the temperature can only get so hot, But, what about when it's 100 degrees? What about when it's 20 degrees hot, when it's 120? What is about when it's 130? 130 is a temperature on the oven, okay? But it's been it's already hit 130 in places in Australia, in places in Pakistan. Maybe even in Death Valley. What happens if it's in LA? And what happens when it bumps a little bit up to 140? Because, we act like, well, it can't do that. Who says? Who says it? Well, there's no reason why it can't be 200. But 140 is kind of the magic number. It's worth remembering 140, because at 140 degrees, the human body starts to die after 8 minutes. There's a point here where it gets hot enough, we're done.